Now, do you still encounter difficulties with your autism symptoms? Any hard time in University of Chicago after leaving your support, including family or friends in Hong Kong?
Yeah, like I lived in Hong Kong for 18 years. My family moved to the U.S. after I graduated from high school. So when I don't visit Hong Kong during the holidays, I feel pretty homesick, miss my friends and everything. But I mean, it's not like a crippling it's not a crippling sort of like homesickness or anything. Like I cope with it fine. Um, yeah, it's been a pretty easy transition. Not easy, but it's been a smooth transition, I'd say, into college.
That's cool. Well,
For me, like somewhat disorganized. Like I could show you guys my room right now if you want, but it's some trouble like moving to the U.S. and not like having a helper help you clean up and that kind of thing. Like some people do in Hong Kong. I'm like learning how to manage my finances, things like that. But I think that's typical stuff most people have to deal with once they go to college.
okay, I see. Well, now you are very successful. You are studying University of Chicago. Who are you most thankful for in your recovery journey and why?
I'm thankful for my parents as well as for the people Autism Partnership for going through all their effort to help me go through therapy. I mean, I don't think it's ever easy, especially for first-time parents to have to deal with their first child who is like affected by a very severe disorder. And I appreciate them very much for going through all the effort to help me become who I am now. I'm also very thankful for Autism Partnership. Without their therapy, I wouldn't be where I am now either.
Okay, I see. Well, there's one question that's not on my list because I'm following the list when I ask the question. Is that because I met a parent last week and he asked me that when their son get bigger, they may be able to realize that they had this diagnosis before. So I would like to know, like, how did you handle, like, when did you realize that you had this condition before, and how do you handle this actually?
Sure. So my parents kind of told me in like a sequential manner, like slowly revealing the layers of truth, I suppose. So they told me I had ADHD when I was like 9 years old.
Okay.
Which obviously like isn't like the full story or anything like that. And then they decided to wait till I was like mature enough to handle it to tell me I had high functioning autism because again, if they told me at the age of 8, like I probably wouldn't have been mature enough to handle it. I'll just like use autism as an excuse for like not trying hard to socially or academically. So when I was 15 years old and I was on the cusp of like recovering, that's when they told me. And honestly, just kind of it made a lot of sense. I didn't really. It wasn't like a huge revelation to me. Like it was interesting to find out, but that's about it.
Okay. Well, do you have any advice for parents or for students regarding autism?
Yeah. There are a couple things. One of them is like rather controversial, I suppose. Like sometimes it depends on the circumstance. But I think you have to gauge what your son or daughter's maturity level is at the point at which you tell them they have autism. Sometimes it's best to tell them early. Sometimes it's best to tell them later. Just make sure they'll be able to handle it well and like not have their confidence too hard hit by the autism. Otherwise, they might not like have much. They feel like they don't have much hope of recovery from it. Like because I didn't think I had autism. I always thought that like I had a chance in this world, and I guess that worked out fine. Another piece of advice I'd say is obviously make adjustments for your child. Encourage the child's teachers to make suitable adjustments for the child. But at the same time, don't necessarily treat them like they're 5 years old when they're actually 12 years old. Don't like give them really, really low standards. Like don't like clap your hands very happily and say, "Oh, good job, you figured out what 1 + 1 is at the age of 10." Don't say, "Oh, good job, you didn't throw a temper tantrum" or something like that. Because there are two things I'd say about that. Because first of all, I think even if children don't know they have autism, they realize that there are some behavioral things that they can't really control, and they realize it's the wrong thing to do. When a parent like says, "Good job for not throwing a temper tantrum," it kind of makes them it kind of feels condescending from their point of view. Another thing is that if they don't find it condescending, this is like the alternate scenario where like they might not actually think their behavior is wrong. When they're given standards like that, when they're congratulated and give like rewards for not throwing temper tantrums or like just not doing stuff that you're definitely not supposed to, any normal person should have to be doing, then it kind of like extends throughout the rest of their life. They don't have much high standards to apply to. They'll say, okay, so like not throwing a temper tantrum must be the best thing I can potentially achieve because I'm getting so much positive reinforcement for that. So that's the standard which I'm going to abide to for the rest of my life. I'm not going to like really seek that much improvement after that. So obviously, like negative positive reinforcement works for a while, but once they become like 8, 9, 10 years old, I mean, positive negative reinforcement will still work beyond that, but like raise the standards as the child grows up and matures. That's what I'd say.